Good afternoon, everybody, and happy Africa Day. Today, I'm absolutely thrilled. I'm going to be interviewing some very special and philanthropic artists today. We are going to talk about the Solidarity Express. We're going to talk about a bit of Africa Day and the music that's going to be kicking this all off. Please welcome into the studio Dan Chiorboli, Andre Kriel, and Phil Manzanera. Wow, a room full of incredible talent. Gentlemen, you have created a musical mosaic which started here in South Africa and is crossing continents with this uplifting project. We're going to be talking about this project. Let's start with Dan. Hello. How are you?
Hello. I'm very well.
Happy Africa Day, darling.
Absolutely. Happy Africa.
How are you celebrating this day? You're doing this interview, right?
Yeah, it's chilly in Josie here, Sin. So,
Yeah.
I'm sitting with a coat on here looking out over the garden and just chilling, basically.
Well, chilling
We're
is a
busy
good
working
word,
on
right?
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, of course you are, because, at this time of our crazy lockdowns, what else can we be in the studio creating, doing what we do? Dan, a little background about you as a musician, please. Just a little bit, where you've been, a few little tidbits. We love tidbits.
Okay. I was born in Italy. I
Okay.
came to South Africa when I was 6 years old, from a musical family, from my mom. Got into the orchestra side of things when I was very young, and then basically discovered world music and soul. And that has been my path through life with the music. And I've been incredibly blessed by having a really diverse life, playing with some incredible musicians, playing and being involved in a myriad of really interesting projects. And, coming back to the lockdown situation, we're incredibly privileged that we can work from home, basically.
Yes.
As much as we can, and that's how we've been getting this project together. So I've had a great life so far. I don't intend it to start slowing down any moment. It was fantastic meeting Phil. We've had a fantastic adventure together with a whole bunch of projects.
Yes, because you have worked with him before, absolutely. We're going to talk about the Solidarity Project because I think it was your idea originally. And did you bring Phil in straight away?
No, it was Phil and my idea.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't get that quite. Who started it?
I think the feel was that the original seed was germinated when we were on tour last year in Italy.
Okay.
The Liberation Project, and we felt that we needed something, a message of hope, a message of something unique that we could give out to the world without sounding too idealistic.
Sure.
And we discussed it and we started throwing some ideas around, and Phil's got a very close relationship to South Africa, which I think he'll elaborate on later. So we thought we would keep the core here and then drive it out of London and out of South Africa as well. And from a great idea like that has come something that I think is going to become quite unique. The idea is to have special guests on each track as we go along, international guests.
Well, yes.
So going forward, it's going to be really interesting because it's a myriad. It's a completely how can you say and South African influence and African influence, but also has a whole bunch of musical genres that have never really been brought into the mainstream, like Buddha music, Zydeco, Afro soul, that kind of stuff. So it's a wide-ranging genre-based project.
Well, I think anything that comes from the heart, Dan, anything that is inspiring to people, especially now, And not just because of what's happened to this world, but I think what was happening to the world anyway before this happened. I think people have lost their moral compasses a lot of the way. And music has always been that medium that can take you to another place. You can forget about all the rubbish and the nonsense, and you can actually be inspired and feel something, because music has been the speaking of the ages, the voice of the ages. I've always felt that.
I think you captured that superbly, Cindy. You know, it's almost like we've got the spirit, the naivety and the idealistic elements of the 60s that are coming back, and the feeling
that is the thing.
That music
Absolutely.
can change
Absolutely.
something in a really small way, that we can bring people together. We can bring different cultures together, different nations, artists who wouldn't normally collaborate with each other. I think that's our goal going forward.
I love that, Dan. I love it. I think it's so inspiring. Thank you so much. I would like to talk to Andre Kriel. If you can bring him into the picture, please. Okay. No picture of Andre. Where are you, Andre? Darling, here he is. Fantastic. You are there. Good one.
How's it?
How are you, Andre?
I'm lovely, thanks. How's it going on that side of Norwood?
We are fine in Norwood, darling. Andre, you also come from a different kind of background. I mean, I love the fact that all of you are from different musical backgrounds and how this has melted together and brought something. I mean, you're from the sort of bluesy rock thing, the Black Hat Bones, your bands. You know, tell me a little bit about your background and how you came to this.
I grew up with music. My dad was a muso. We were on tour then constantly since I can remember. And, you know, I tried the corporate thing after I studied, and I tried corporate after school. But, you know, I somehow always knew that, you know, I was going to end up here. So here I am. And I started playing in like campus bands and the old school rock and roll, you know, some metal when we come.
But of course, darling.
And with that, yeah. And eventually, like one day, I just, you know, I stopped and I kind of backtracked, and you know, I started from scratch with the blues, and I kind of just got stuck in the blues. But you know, my taste in music, the spectrum's always been broad to it. So blues through to Latin, through to you know, from and all of, and then Dan got a hold of me a while ago, and he's kind of been cultivating that side of you know, my musical spectrum for the past couple of years, and I'm very grateful for that. And he's kind of showed me things about myself that I was never aware of.
Isn't that fantastic that can happen to us? I mean, but the blues really is the core of most music, if you look at it. I mean, it always started with those, that like 12 bar, the 3 chords, the 4 chords. You know, it's a bottom line when you really talk about it. And it's easy to transition from that to anything else. I mean, I think someone who's just a rock singer is going to have a hard time singing the sort of African beats and all those kind of things. I don't think they'll fully capture that unless you've had some kind of flow going on in your background where you have actually touched on something that is very authentic, like the blues, and that you can transition into something fresh.
It's obviously, it's like a universal kind of stepping stone that you need to take before you can move on to any kind of level and any kind of direction. You need to have that solid foundation. And I've seen it across the board. The guys that does not have that, you know, like I kind of feel sorry for them, because like once the little world gets removed from under them, they've got nothing to fall back on.
They've got nothing left. Yes.
If you start with a solid foundation, they cannot take that away from you. You'll always have the blues, no matter what.
That's it. No matter what. Always got the blues, baby. So, Dan, listen, it's the story of my life. What can I say?
3 chords and the truth.
Absolutely.
Blues and country, 3 chords and the truth.
There we
Absolutely.
go. The red guitar.
And Dan brought you into this program, this project, this everything. And as you said, took you on a different journey.
Sorry,
And
Andre.
Well,
I don't think he
there we
looks
are.
worse for the wear. I don't think so. I love that. I love that. I want to bring Phil in right now because Phil is for me also from one of my best bands in my whole life. Phil Manzanera, who can introduce you better? Music maestro, welcome to the show. So lovely to have you here.
Well, it's great to join you guys. I'm in my little 16th century cottage in West Sussex in England. The temperature is 25 degrees outside. It's like I could be in Caracas or in Havana at the moment. It's fantastic.
I love it. And isn't this online platform amazing that we can be in Caracas and we can be in South Africa? I could be in Norwood and you can be in wherever you are. You know, I think it's fantastic. Phil, I think, you know, your name is well known, but can you give us just a little bit of musical background just to fill the viewers in?
Sure, yeah. Well, even though I was born in London, many years ago, my parents moved to Havana, Cuba in 1956. And so I lived in Cuba during the revolution, and then we had to leave after the revolution. We went to Hawaii, and then we went to Venezuela, Caracas, Venezuela. My mother was Colombian from Barranquilla, and my father was British. And then I begged my parents to send me to England because I would listen to the radio station, the BBC, and I could hear amazing music coming from England. So age 10, I was sent to a boarding school in London. And I used to go backwards and forwards to Caracas to the age of 15, where my father died in Venezuela. And then we moved back to England full time. And then after 4 more years at school, I left, and then a year later I was lucky. I joined Roxy Music. I was in the right place at the right time. And not any art school background like all the others. I just came from a totally different, South American music sort of groove. But I loved, the Beatles and the Stones and psychedelia, Hendrix and everything. I was there in the 60s as a teenager, and that was my musical background, And then I joined the band. Yeah.
Wow. And of course, since then have done so many things. I think, funnily enough, I mean, I know you'll think I'm absolutely crazy, but I always heard a tiny sort of Latin-y thing in Roxy Music's music. I know that sounds funny. I heard, those like groovy kind of dance movie things. I mean, I always felt that in Roxy music. It was so different,
Well, the only thing that I can sort of work out is because of the groove side of things. I was always trying to play in triple time against using echoes, against what they were doing, but like undercover, because nobody was interested in my South American roots for the whole of the 70s. No one ever asked me anything about where I was brought up or did South America have any influence on me. It's only now where people realize that I wasn't like the others. But I because of that upbringing, it's really meant that my musical tastes are very inclusive, and I love working with different musicians. And I'm not scared to fail.
Yes.
And I have failed many times. So, and I jump in. And when I got the call to work with Dan and with Ray Peary on a WOMAD tour in the 90s.
Yes.
With Gita Baloy.
Peter.
Yeah. And it was called The African Gypsies. That's when I first came into contact with Dan. But of course, the other strange coincidence was that my both my aunts were born in South Africa, and
is that where that sort of connection came?
Bloemfontein, yeah. And my step grandfather used to work as a doctor. We're talking about at the beginning of the 20th century, so a long time ago. But I do have the connections, and then meeting Dan, and he invited me several times to play on the awesome Africa festivals in Durban. And then this time last year, I was in Joburg on Africa Day, playing at the Nelson Mandela Theatre with those amazing musicians and young musicians, and there's just so much wonderful talent, and it reinvigorated my desire to just do anything that I could to be involved with South African musicians. So it's lovely to be involved and bring people together.
A very sort of serendipitous way that everything just comes together, isn't it? I love the way things work. I mean, I always think, and now I have to bring myself a little bit into it, that I was in a band called Zia. It was an African rock band, and we were in Paris when Peter Gabriel was launching WOMAD. We were at the press conference, and he was there, and I remember, what was his girlfriend's name? Oh God,
Rosanna
I remember.
Arquette.
Yes, Rosanna. And I mean, she was famous already from Toto's song, and I remember that so much. And we were playing sort of world music, and it was so clear to me the hugeness of it, the absolute. There is so much world music going on, and modern mainstream radio, etc., has no clue about what's going on there. Absolutely clueless about it, and it's such a genre, and it's so huge. And that's what I'm loving about this, is that you're just coming out with the stuff and putting it out there. Tell me, any one of you, what started this song particularly?
Geez, and it's a good question. I think we just wanted something from the heart, from the soul, and I think the original call it idea, rather the feel, the emotion behind it was listening to Aquarius, Let the Sun Shine In by the Fifth Dimension.
Wow.
Ironic,
okay.
And to bring in that soulful gospel element.
Yes.
Together with what Femi did with the Nigerian horns, and the Afrobeat kind of rhythm, I don't think we think about it consciously that we're going to put together several world music styles. It just happens. Yes. I think it's in our DNA.
That's the thing.
That it comes out naturally, and that's, I think, is a very important thing, because if it feels natural, then it's got a place. But once you start creating the kind of a social engineering,
got it.
You missed the boat, well, and perhaps Andre would like to just.
I was just going to ask. In fact, I'm going to ask all of you what you felt about the song and where it came from. And talk to me, Andre.
I think kind of the essence of that, the magic behind the song is we made like a conscious decision when we started with it to keep it as simple as possible. So if you the arrangement, it's like a 3-chord jam, and but if you have the body as simple as that, there's so much space for other instruments and other elements to breathe around it that it's lended itself to Femi being able to put his sax line on it, and everyone else adding their bits and pieces. Whereas if the core of it was written in such a fashion that it doesn't leave any space for anyone else to contribute, it would not have been a collaboration, so to speak. So the idea was to keep it straight, and then everyone just load on top of that.
Well, I think things can get very messy in this kind of music sometimes, that everybody wants to play their thing, and there's that little rhythm going in the background, and then somebody's got to add, and then you lose the essence of the song. Phil, what do you
Yeah.
think about that?
Well, I came to it very late. These guys had really written the whole thing. And so I just listened to it and tried to contribute where I could. And the great thing about this whole project is that the idea behind the song was absolutely terrific and absolutely right for what the Solidarity Express is setting out to do, is to be inclusive and to, put out a good message. So I think when we're looking for songs to do, that can be a good benchmark to look as if it's saying something positive. And of course, when it started, it was before all this COVID, and boy, do we need that now. So,
absolutely.
It's really the idea behind it is very positive, and so I'm happy to contribute as little or as much as anyone wants, and I'm very proud to be part of the whole project.
Well, I think that it's the three of you who, were the creators, really, with Femi, of course. There's an integrity in the music here, and that's what I felt when I came in to sing my parts. I didn't think I was doing a happy, clappy little African song that I've done in the past many times for session work or whatever, which I love and I enjoy. But I felt this very beautiful synchronicity again that was just this mix of everything, and it just fitted so nicely together with all the diverse feelings about how you've all played music in the past and how it all just came together. I would love to hear the song. Julian, please play the song for us. I want to hear it now. Demanding.
Choose the color of your skin. No. You cannot choose the country you were born in. Oh, you cannot choose your economic situation. No. Oh, you cannot choose your generation. I don't care if you were born in the rural villages. No. I don't care about your education. Hey. You cannot choose your sex. Hey. You cannot choose whether you're good looking. No. You certainly cannot choose all these things. Hey. Yet you are judged by them every day, every day, every day.
Xenophobia is of distraction on the issue of immigration. In the spirit of integration, let's all look towards liberation. I believe we can live in harmony. I believe. We are all children of migration.
Yeah, I was enjoying
I
that.
love it. It's such a happy song, you know. Wow. I just want to let you know that
Powerful.
there's people on board that are watching us. We've got the Fame organization. They always come on all these shows. They are amazing. Beverly, hi. Nice to see you. Just that there are people sending us messages and saying hi, that they are watching. I just want to ask a question about the producer. Because nowadays everybody's in their studios doing their thing in their own rooms, in their house, in their bathroom, wherever they are. And I still think that the producer has a lot of influence on a song. Just the way that it gets put together. It's all very well for us as musos to come there and to put it all and have our ideas and everything. But essentially, at the end of it, somebody just connects the dots, so to speak. And I know that John Lindemann was so instrumental in helping along with that. Did you think so?
Yeah, John, John is a doyen of the industry. He's done,
That's it.
well, the history of South African music, Black Mambazo, Mahatela Queens, you, Cindy, it's just an incredible history. And what we wanted to achieve when we originally had the vision was we wanted a live feel to it. We wanted something that was organic, we didn't want to overproduce it. And John just gets a great sound, and it's wonderful to bounce ideas off him because he has this incredible history, and he can relate to everything that we would want to do. So he's become a very vital cog in this entire project. And I think going forward now, absolutely. We've got quite a few songs on the pipeline. One that is a cross between Afrikaans and Cuba, funny enough. We've got one with Giovanotti, the Italian guy, with an Mbakanga feel. Phil has got some fantastic songs in the pipeline with Mfali,
I'm sure,
and with Chaz Jankel, so it's incredibly varied. And John relates to that because he's worked right across the spectrum from Soul Brothers to Skatamia to Mbakanga to rock to pop, so you're drawing from an incredibly deep well, and he's wonderful to have on board. I think, Phil, you would like to come on here when you first heard the sound that John got.
Yeah, I mean, he has amazing ears. I could tell immediately.
I know. That's it.
A rough mix that this was a very superior sound guy. I had no idea who he was or anything. The minute I heard it, I thought, wow, that is world class. Absolutely top of his game. And then Dan explained who he was and what he'd done. And it's not surprising. And the thing about, I do a bit of producing, but I hopefully won't do it more because I'm sort of fed up with producing. But you rely so much on the person, twiddling the knob on a desk.
Of course, absolutely.
That they should get because, half of it is down to them because they say, do you like it like this or do you like it like that?
Yes.
And
yes.
Then we have the power, the producers say, no, I want it like that. So, you do have, a mixture of jobs as a producer, but you can't, without someone like John, you're useless,
Well, that's what I felt I knew also about John is that he gets it. He totally just gets it. Alicia, I'm on show. So my neighbor's banging on the door. She wants to go walking. I'm like, I'm on a show. I can't talk. That's the advantages of working from home, people. This is my house. My neighbor's coming to visit. She doesn't know I'm busy. So, definitely the producer does put things together, and if the producer doesn't get it, I mean, some guys are just getting paid to do a job and they just go there and they twiddle the knobs and they do their thing. But when someone like John comes on board, he puts something in it. He puts his heart and soul into it. He believes in it.
John's an extremely passionate guy. He really feels it. And when we first started talking to John, he was just, ironically enough, it's quite strange. In 1982, I did my very first session. My very first session was with John, mixing for Ladysmith
Wow.
Black Mambazo.
Wow.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Wow.
So it really goes back full circle.
Whew.
Yeah.
Well, that's the funniest thing, because I've known John since his early years, like at RPM and all those years. Like I was a kid as well, just in the clout years. And I mean, John always stood out, not only as a fantastic sound man, he can hear. His ears are just great, and that's very important. But he's one of the funniest guys I know. He cracks me up. I wet myself, literally. I'm like, oh, for God's sake, John. You know, he's such a pleasure to be around. He's joyful. So let's talk a little bit about the musicians involved, because there was a lot of people doing things, singing, putting in a lot of ideas and stuff. Who did you have on board on this?
Shall I answer this?
Dan, you're the
Okay.
Anybody.
Well,
Free for all.
besides Phil, Andre, and myself, we had Tebogo Sedumeri on bass and lead vocals.
Yes.
Peter Jumba from the Liberation Project Band. Peter Jumba on drums. Femi Koya on sax, and he does the lead vocals in the verse from Nigeria. And we wanted to work with an absolute legend, an icon of South African music, who we've admired tremendously, and that's Black Moses Ngwenya from
Of course, keyboard player.
for that Hammond organ feel.
Oh.
He's absolutely unique.
Yes.
Then we had Justin Sassman from Bomb Shelter Beast on trombone, who did some of the brass arrangements, and Tamani Mbeya on vocals, and the real queen as well, also on vocals, by the name of Cindy Alter.
Thank you. I was so happy to be part of it. You know, one of my favorite things, I know I've been a lead vocalist, whatever you want to call it, my whole life. But one of my favorite things is to do backup. I would love to go on tour with some big act or any small act, I don't care, and just do backing vocals. Because I think your backing vocals layer things, you know, in a different way. And if the backing vocals are hot and on, it leads you to where you need to go. They're very important. People don't see it as that. You know, the layman would not say, oh, the backing vocals are great. I mean, all those Steely Dan albums with Michael McDonald, and I mean, it's like, whoa, that's the stuff, man. So
Well, Cindy,
I'm a
you came
big
to church,
fan.
on this one.
I
You
came to church,
man.
baby.
Wow.
I'll go to church, and I'm a nice Jewish girl who goes to church very often, let me tell you. Happy to go there. You know, the cross-cultural multi-thing, it's all happening here. Doesn't matter who you are, what you are. You can have dogs or cats. And it's like, as I said from the beginning, it's like a mosaic. It's a little piece of this and a little piece of that, and how it all fits together, which I think is the most important thing, how it all fits together. So,
What
please
about
speak
Ted?
to me, Phil.
Yes, I
Pardon?
mentioned Tebs. I mentioned
You
Tebs,
did.
Phil.
Yes.
Yeah, Tebogo.
You did.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, right. Didn't understand.
Oh, something else.
Yeah.
Just, you know, seeing everybody together, I get very excited when I'm in a room full of musicians. I just always do. You know, this, that we were lucky we did it when we did it, hey? Because, let me tell
A lot of
you,
fire in that session. There was a lot of fire in that session.
there was a lot of fire in that session.
Yeah.
That session was like, you know, just, as I said, it just worked. Everything just like came together so beautifully. I was very lucky to be part of that. Thank you. Thank you for having me there.
That's a pleasure, Cindy. Always.
No, absolutely loved it. I am so looking forward to where it goes from here. That's what I want to talk about for a bit.
Huh. That's a hell of a question. Well,
I
the
love
plan
it.
is, you know, the plan is we've probably been put back a little bit through the COVID-19, but by the same token, I think it's given us an element of introspection
Yes,
and the
definitely.
thought as to where we want to go. We've got quite a few songs in the pipeline, as I mentioned, so we'll be dropping them as they become ready. The next one is a Cuban Afrikaans one about the Battle of Quito.
I'm dying to hear that.
Yeah, then we have an amazing sort of Mbakanga rock arrangement of Viva la Libertà, which is a Giovanotti song.
I love that. Didn't I sing something on there?
Yes, you did.
Yes. Oh, that was such fun.
Verse.
I love that song.
Yeah.
Because isn't that that's like a standard kind of?
Yeah. Well, it's his song, and ironically, we played with him in Italy at 2 big beach festivals last year.
Wow.
And after that, Phil and I thought, wow, we've got to cover this song.
Yeah.
So we've taken it in a completely different groove.
I know.
With English, Chichewa, Yoruba, Swana. Phil's going to do some Spanish vocals on that, and Giovanotti obviously with Italian. So it's right across the board. And then, as I mentioned, Phil's got 3 amazing songs that we're working on as well. So we're not shy of material.
That's brilliant.
So, as I mentioned, we'll drop them as we go along, as they become ready. Playing live, gee, we don't know. The idea is possibly around the end of the year to do a streamed concert where we can have the full band live, and then bring in Phil in London and guys in Cuba or whatever. But as for now, we don't know. Phil, do you want to add on to that?
Yes, I was going to say, Phil, I'm sure you've got something.
Yeah, I think, I'm sitting in this little room here, and I'm doing stuff with you. I'm doing stuff with people in Auckland, with Finn from Crowded House. I'm doing stuff.
Oh, wow.
With,
great
my
band.
Mexican rapper friend and the guy in Mendoza in Argentina. This is what's happening now. And we're just doing what we can and keeping busy and seeing what things develop. But and that's what's exciting, is that with this project is that anything might occur as we go along. We're reacting to how we feel at the moment, and what is possible and what's not possible. But at least I think we all feel contributing as musicians, to just the general, and hopefully, people watching this will enjoy what we're doing. Well,
I don't think anything is set in stone, especially now. Also being online and being able to collaborate with people in Auckland and England and wherever we are, we can do whatever we want. So the possibilities are endless. It's just making it look viable, because this little medium here has become our platform.
Yeah.
The music business, since lockdown, of course, listen, even before lockdown, the music business changed. We all know that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that a little bit, where Phil, especially you've been through so many eras of music, and I don't mean that you're old. I just mean, from the early days, and you say youngster in the 70s and whatever that was, and being in England, I mean, that was wow. When I think of us in South Africa, we only had radio. We only got television in 1975 or 76. We never had TV. We only had radio.
I didn't realize that. Yeah. I mean, I have lived through the whole evolution of the whole recording process, because as technology advanced, then the whole way you recorded changed. But I mean, when we did the first Roxy album, it was just like people did then. You all went into a studio, you all played together, and you had a limited amount of time to do your album. I think our first album was done in a week. We had a budget for a week, and there was no guarantee that anyone would take it. So, we borrowed money. I think it cost £5,000, and we were very excited. First time in a studio, so it was an old World War II studio of the BBC, because that's all we could afford. And then one thing leads to another. But then, with Eno, I used to get old tape recorders, and you had to just work out things for yourself. There was no technology, no plugins,
That's it.
sound from Japan or anything. You had to make it all up yourself. And so right up till now, we're actually just, funny enough, I've just, in the last couple of weeks, have played on some tracks from Brian Ferry, actually, which I haven't played on for years. And he's in lockdown about 15 minutes from here, but we can't see each other. But, he said, well, I'd like you to come round and play. I said, no, I can't come round. We're locked down. I said, but you probably don't realize, but in the early days, I used to go home and on a tape recorder work out my guitar parts. They weren't just done in the studio. And then I'd come to the studio and say, right, I have this idea, that idea. So now I just do it myself on Logic here, and I just edit it myself instead of having a fabulous producer to tell me what to do, and just send it to him. And it seems to work. And wow, it's a mind job, head-blowing job, because the difference between what used to happen 50 years ago and what happens now. I mean, when I say 50 years, it sounds like an enormous amount of time, which it is. But the whole world has just changed incredibly. Yeah. However, that's from a technological point of view.
Yes.
But we're still just about down to a simple song with some words that have some resonance, and you can be successful.
That's it.
It is down to the song.
Always. I've always believed that. That I go to Nashville quite a lot. I was living in America, and there was the Nashville Songwriters Association, and their logo was like, it's all about the song. It just takes, it's all about the song, and that's the truth. Yeah. So even back then, I mean, you used to have to go in the studio and you had to sing in tune. There's no auto-tune, there's none of that. You can't do 24 takes because you didn't have a lot of time in the studio. You would all go into the studio and just lay it down, then the singer would go and then you do your backing vocals, and that was it. And things nowadays are very different, as we know. I think in some ways I don't like things, but then in some ways I do like some things, that you can use certain sounds and have some fun with things. But this medium has been incredible for music. The internet, that we can go, and be able to do shows. Andre, haven't you done something recently?
Andre wasn't born 50 years ago.
No, I'm saying recently. Haven't you done something recently online?
Guy in the room for a change. It's so good to be the youngest guy in the room for a change. We've had some success with a couple of streaming shows, especially in the first month. It was everyone still felt very sympathetic towards the musos, and it went well. But now it's moved on to the next level already, where it was very cute and romantic to do a little live stream on the corner of your bed. And everyone thought it, everyone kind of forgave you for not having the best audio and the best video. But it's moved on to the next level now.
I know.
Studios, we're getting permits, going into the studio, getting top quality producers and film people in there to obviously give you the best product that you can use to put forward. So it's exciting times, in a way, a blessing in disguise, because it's things that a lot of musos would never have had access to unless you pay big money for it. And now the guys come out, they're inviting musos to come in and come play on like a world-class stage and with a world-class production. Very exciting times. Yeah, it's we went in on Tuesday with a thing that was sponsored by Red Bull, and it's already getting picked up by some serious players in the industry, some serious channels, and the production quality of it is much better than you can do from your home studio, obviously. Although not to take anything away from the guys who've tried put something out there and kind of keep themselves in the loop so you don't get forgotten. But it's definitely moved on to the next level, and people's not satisfied anymore with it's like kind of substandard quality. You need to get it out there, and you need to up your game now. It's become a race.
Yeah, that terrifies me because I can't do this technology thing. I'm so bad at it. I've learnt a lot, but I think also musicians, we are such survivors. We've been thrown in the washing machine many times and we've come out dry. You know what I'm saying? That things get thrown at us and we just are so resilient. I think that musicians are pretty incredible. We I hate to say it like this because it sounds terrible, but like the cockroaches of the world, that we always rise to the top no matter. There's wars, musicians are still there. There's nuclear things happening. There's lockdown happening. Musicians are still out there doing their thing. We found a way. I think that's brilliant. Hey?
That's it. Any musician that's ever been on tour will definitely agree with you. You know how it goes. You get confronted, with almost any gig, in and every gig, especially starting out. Be it technical, be it your tour van, or be it a promoter that's full of shit or something like that. So
yes, exactly.
You do tend to work your way around things. So true.
Phil, have you had a few experiences like that?
Yeah. But,
Dan?
There's no security blanket.
Anything like that ever happened to you?
Yeah, sure. We have to be survivors.
It's like we have to be.
It's our lifeblood, It's our lifeblood. Without the music and without the passion that goes into it, I think we'd be really horrible shells of a human being.
Well, I think that's the thing, is that we are always operating on an emotional level. They could say, just make it about business. Just be business all the way and just do it right, blah, blah, blah. But we feel this stuff. This stuff comes from deep inside somewhere. This is like this, as you said, our lifeblood, and so we do feel, and it's not easy to just switch off and just say, just be this, just be that. We feel these things and we get affected by them. So, and we are always putting ourselves out there in front of people to be shot down.
Sure.
Yeah. And
well, as I said before, you have to be not afraid to fail.
Yes,
I think. And
that's it, Phil.
You just do it. Sometimes you win, sometimes you don't win, but this is what you do. You decide to do this for your life, so it's not a job, it's a vocation, really.
It is a vocation.
You do regardless, and there's ups and downs in any career, and well, it's not really, I don't think it's a career, it's just a way of life.
It is a way of life.
And there's a lot of karma involved. Sometimes things come, and if you're good and you do good works, and then things come to you, and you just have to believe in that.
Well, I think
Brilliant.
The longevity of some musicians is the testament to how they've run their show, their personal show in this business. We know about this. I mean, I've worked with lots of different people. Some people are absolutely, it's like, what are you doing this for? Why? Why are you doing this? You're just making it all dirty and diluting everything. And then there's people like you, Phil, who've been around for a long time, well respected in the business. People know who you are. You've kept it like that because of who you've been as well. I think your character, anybody's character in this business, is, as I say, the testament to what they've done. And also success is so relative, guys, I mean, so to some people starting out, especially the youngsters, just want to be on stage, just want to be stars. All those music shows, the idols and the voice and all that stuff. They want to be overnight success, you know, and we came up, I think we came up the hard way. We had to be correct. We were not trained. Nobody taught us. We had to learn on the road and on the stage. That's where we learned our craft.
Well, if you're coming into it to chase the money, so if you're coming into it to chase the money,
that's it. Yes.
You're doing it for the wrong. You're doing it for the wrong
Absolutely.
reasons, you know, and you're not going to have a lifetime in it. It's got to. You've
Got to be a
live
passion.
and breathe it. You've
Yes.
got to live and breathe it,
Absolutely.
and go through the pain and either the highs and the lows, as Phil said. Absolutely, you've got to live it.
I do believe.
You mentioned overnight.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
You did a show just recently with PJ Powers, right?
Yes.
And she's got a famous quote that I'll never forget. It was up at a studio that I did some of my first tracks with, and the guy actually stuck it up on the wall, and it said, "My overnight success took me a lifetime to achieve." So,
Absolutely. And that's the truth. And
That's
that
right.
is the truth.
Yeah.
You know, as a musician, we have a twofold thing with healing music, because music is a healer. We know that. In all different aspects, somebody will hear an old Roxy song and like, I fall on the ground and I'm like, oh my God, I remember this. I remember where I was. Or I'm hearing one of your songs, you know, from Black Cat Bones. I'm like, oh my God, I was in Mozambique or whatever. Dan, you know what I'm saying? People trigger memories from songs and it heals you in different ways. It's the truth,
Sure.
you know? And it heals us too. I get healed through playing and singing. I mean, how many times I was down on the floor crying and had to get up and do my show and put on the smile, and it healed me. I walked out of there feeling, wow, I'm okay now.
Yeah. The therapeutic side of music is so important. You know, when
Absolutely.
growing up in South America, you know, what I learned is that there were many poor people, you know, and a lot of countries were considered third world countries. But because they had this very fantastic music that you could dance to, it really made things better.
Yes.
And that was, you know, a great example of how music can transcend your personal situation and help you. And so that stuck with me always, you know.
In Africa, in South Africa.
There's a great reality in South Africa. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's a correlation there. Yeah.
I mean, in the early years of the transitions, so I was with Zia, we used to play in the townships. These people were fighting for freedom, right? So it was all that crazy times where the things were starting to change, and they were dancing and they were happy and they were loving the music because it made them feel something other than pain, other than their situation, you know, the darkness of what they were living.
Absolutely. Well put, Cindy. Well, I'm going to give you a plug now.
Me?
For those of you out there who haven't read Cindy's book,
Ooh.
if you're talking about spirituality and fighting your way through life, you've got to read Cindy's book.
Oh, dear. Thank you for that.
That's a pleasure.
It's, you've just started, right?
Yeah.
It's like, if you don't get it on the first page, you'll just put it down. You know? It's like, what? I got to know about this. Thank you for that, Dan. How very kind of you. Yes, it is available on Kindle. Okay, so let me, we're going to sort of be slowly going out. What do you guys, any last thoughts? What do you want to say? Anything you want to talk about before we leave the studio today? Firstly, I have to say what a bloody pleasure and honor it is to be in this little room with you all. And thank you so much for being so open and thank you. And to Discover TV for putting on these amazing shows. It's like, wow, thank you for the platform. So anybody want to say anything?
Well, I just want to thank Julian and Bill. Sorry, Phil.
Everybody
No.
wants to talk. Yay.
Phil?
Yeah, no, absolutely, Dan. I want to thank you, and Andre, and Cindy for having me on the program. And these are troubling times, but we'll
Yes.
get through it all together. So and it's great that we can do our little bit as musicians. So hopefully we're going to come out the other side.
Love it. Thank you, Phil. Dan?
I can't wait for us all to be together, man. We're on the stage together, finally.
Oh, man, this is a wonderful bunch of people. We could feel the vibe in the studio. I mean, Phil knows the band. It's a wonderful, wonderful spirit. And once we get this across live, I think it's going to be something absolutely powerful and unique.
Oh,
And just closing from our side, just thanks to Bill Buerters and Julian for Plato and to you, Cindy.
yes.
I mean, how ironic was it that you sung on the song? And guess
It's just so funny.
Oh, jeez.
And that's what
It's
Julian
incredible.
said to me. Listen, we've got to interview these guys on Africa Day. Please, will you do the interview? And I'm like, of course I'll do the interview. I sang on the song.
That's amazing. Amazing.
Andre,
So thank
any
you,
last
Andre,
words?
Phil, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thanks. Andre, goeie.
I'm going to
Andre.
for Phil quickly.
Sorry?
You what?
When I was hearing another one of those secret licks like the No Church and the Wild One, I know you've got a couple stashed there. I can't wait to hear the next one. That was that little piece that went such a long way. So it's one of my favorite pieces of music. Just that little bit there.
Great, thank you.
You see, those are the things that we remember.
Andre wants to cover it for this project.
I just love
why
it.
not?
Yeah.
Let's play the rest. You guys rap on it. Hey, okay, I'll put together a track, send it over.
That's a great idea. Just use it as a. We'll just use a loop of that, and we'll make something with it. Please let me sing back up always, please.
Of course.
But
I
the
just
bits
want to
and
sing
pieces-
back.
The bits and pieces already on this song that you've added as the worst kind of guitarist is someone that tries to fill every little gap there is in a song to fill. And
Yeah.
You somehow find a place. You found a place for your playing to be relevant without it trying to overpower anything else. And I've got so much respect for that. It's a mutual respect when it comes to a bunch of artists trying to create something without bringing your ego or your rock stardom to the party. And I mean, you were surely in your right to have done that. Should you have gone that route? But it was so nice to hear it. It was so refreshing. The little harmonic going in the beginning and all of that is. Look at this. Look at that.
Goosebumps, baby. And that's why this works. And that's why this project is going to work. It's because of the people involved in it, not just the musicality. The people, your souls, your spirits add to everything. And it has been an absolute pleasure to talk to all of you today. You're awesome. I wish this thing longevity and may it cross all the oceans and the seas and the everythings. And may the music just live on, whatever we do, let it just be in the atmosphere and the universe for always. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.
All.
Thank you.
Bye. Mwah.
Bye. Thanks.
Big, big, grateful pleasures to all of you. Thanks.
Bye. Bye.